Hi everyone, we're back again with another episode of Off the Record with me, Saman, on ITSP Magazine. So far we've done a lot of people, be it masters, be it a doctorate program, and then we've traversed through different universities, and now we're back to the eastern side again. And we have another guest today from George Washington University. So that's one university I really have heard a lot about it, and I stumbled upon Purav's profile. And we will be talking a lot about the university, the program he did, the current job he has, and all sorts of experiences that we prepped up with him on a lot of things that could help us to go through and be part of that university. So, hi Purav, welcome to the podcast. We're so glad to have you and listen to your experiences as a graduate student with George Washington University.
Uh, Hi, Saman, and hi, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Saman, for inviting me to to this podcast and sharing my experiences with coming to the United States and doing my master's here. And I hope I hope my experience also helps others and makes it easier for them as well to come here.
It will. So, we should not wait much. Let's just talk about more, when did you come here, where did you come from, and what is your current job role, your organization, and where are you right now? So let our audience know more about you.
Yes. So, uh, my name is Purav Parekh, and I came from Bangalore, India. I finished my undergrad in PS University, again in Bangalore. So I did a dual degree. I have a major in mechanical engineering with a minor in computer science. And then I finished my master's from the George Washington University in computer science. And I'm currently working with the National Institute of Standards and Technology as a software engineer in Maryland. So on the very close to Washington, D.C.
That's great. And the very humorous part here is that the minor course became a major course in the master's degree, like when we see from the undergrad to the master's. So somehow something went great with computer science that the master's was picked up in computer science. So welcome to the community of computer science.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's when actually I my interest for computer science started. So I was very much interested in cars and all of that. But when I did computer science, a minor in my computer science, that's when like, okay, this is more fun. And that's when I shifted my focus to computer science. And now we are here.
That's amazing. Like, I totally understand there's a lot of pros and cons to computer science. We'll talk majorly the pros here. So, thanks again. And I know moving from Washington to Maryland would have been a big change, but we'll see how things were there during your student years. So, first of all, when we, hit here with the first question is why George Washington University? I know when we come up as an international students, we as Indians like, or be it like international students, anyone would do a lot of drilling, like which college to go for. A lot of factors come into picture, like fees, like city, like the weather. Uh, how close your friends you can find there to that particular area, and a lot of other things, the curriculum and everything. So what was your key factors of choosing George Washington University, and then we'll come up to the course as well, like why that course.
Yeah. So when I was looking for universities back in 2019, uh, George Washington University was not a very well-known university. It was, one of those universities which is very good, but hidden from the Indian students. So that was what it was. One advantage of George Washington University is that it has a very small class size. So they don't take a lot of students. Back then, when I was looking for universities, they had a very small class size. So that is actually beneficial because the professors become more easily accessible. You can talk to them, you can email them personally, and they also, because they're teaching a small class size, they also remember you, and they know that, okay, this student is in my class. So that was one big reason why I chose that university. Second was I used to attend a lot of international university fairs back in Bangalore, and I came across George Washington University during one of those fairs. And once I spoke to them, then I went on their websites, researched about the university. And George Washington University was one of the most responsive universities. So they used to respond to my questions, queries. So that was also a good uh, thing about the university, so that they are actually looking at students and the prospective students. So that was another benefit. And of course, the third one was the course and the flexibility that they had with choosing of the subjects that I wanted. So that these were the main three reasons that I chose George Washington University. And one more reason that helped me decide finally George Washington was because I received a scholarship. So that reduced my expenses quite a lot. So that also helped its case. Yeah.
I know that just creates a major 50% bend toward that university if
Yes.
you have that financial help from that particular university. I can say it from personal like experience. That's one thing that I got from my university as well. So, those were really good pointers. And actually I wanted to like take a moment for the audience as well, that so far in these episodes we've actually talked about networking and being part of different events, webinars, and etc., where you know a lot about the university. And this is one good example that I wanted to like highlight here, with you being in India but still attended a lot of international university fairs as well, where you were able to know a lot of universities. So I suppose this is one thing that a lot of folks from India or any other country could do it as well, if it matches with your time zone, to go ahead and network and know more about these universities, so that if in future you plan to, you still have like a one-on-one experience being part of such fairs and know more about it. So that's one thing that I wanted to highlight. Thank you so much for sharing that. And since we touched upon that scholarship part, so before going on to that scholarship thing, I really wanted to understand from my audience that what was the application process that looked like for George Washington University? What are the different steps that you took to submit that application process? And yeah.
Yeah. So George Washington University's application process is pretty much similar to all the other universities. So they require one SOP, three LORs, and yeah, and they have a very good website where you can go fill out the form, put in your details, upload your grade cards and mark sheets. So they don't really want you to upload the actual official ones while applying. So they're okay with the unofficial transcripts. So these three things are the main things. And yeah, so one more thing that I think a lot of students don't know about is that before applying to any university, you can email the university's admission office and ask for an application fee waiver. So a lot of universities respond back and actually they give a code that waives your application fee. So that's what happened with me with GW as well, and a lot of other universities that I applied to as
Nice.
well. So
I
that's
wasn't, yeah, I wasn't aware of this thing. Like, this is for the first time I'm hearing, but that's great. Like, per application, it's like something like 70, 80, or max like 90 or $100. It's something under 100. Somewhere it's $50, somewhere it's 60, 70, 80. But waiving that off is also a big thing. Like, because sitting back in India, when you're not in the same currency, it just feels a lot like that application
yes,
form itself. That's great.
yes,
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah. That's one thing that I did. Out of the 10 universities that I applied, I think five to six of them gave me application fee waivers. So that really helped my case, and GW was one of them.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's amazing. That's really amazing. And I wasn't aware. So maybe a lot of people may not be aware of it. So go ahead and email. It's like just a little ask that doesn't harms you. And if it helps you
Actually, yeah,
with the
there's no harm.
waiver, yeah, there's no harm. And anyways, you'll pay it. And if it doesn't, like, it works best. So,
Yes.
obviously I wanted to put out a word here, like you can check the current process, like the application process with Purav. It's more of back in 2019. It's been 5 years, so may have been updated, or that feels a lot, right?
Yeah, that feels a lot.
So yeah, but we're all very proud of you. Back in like 2019, 5 years back, you were a student, and now, the best background that we could see it, working with NIST. So that's like a great, great achievement. For me, it is. So it's
Thank you
really
so
great. Yeah. So, just I was saying, like, you can check the application process again if anything has changed. The website would be, easily accessible. And if not, I guess college advisors and everything would be listed there for you to, know more about that. But
I would like to add one thing here. So sometimes, even if you cannot reach out to the college advisors, there are a lot of student ambassadors that the university has. So I was actually one of them. So what you can we can talk about this later, but as we are talking on the admission process, they do have a web page where all the student ambassadors are listed, and you can directly chat with them by just clicking a button. So that the message directly goes to them, and it's a simple app that you use on the phone like WhatsApp, not WhatsApp, but similar to WhatsApp. So the ambassadors get the notification immediately and they can respond to you on the fly. So that also gives a lot of inputs into the admission process and a lot of other things uh, with respect to GW.
oh, that's amazing. That's like a great help. Like more of like current or alumni batch is actually like serving as ambassadors and could help you anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's more of the current students who are
Okay.
currently in GW. And yeah, one more thing to note is that this is only for the School of Engineering. I'm not sure if they also have for School of Business or the law school or the medical school, but they definitely have this for the School of Engineering.
Okay, School of Engineering, pay attention. And obviously, we'll talk in lengths about the student ambassador thing. How can you become one, and how are you helping the new folks? We'll talk about it in the later section of the podcast. Coming back to the course, Purav, like I know you just mentioned that there were 10 universities that you applied to along with George Washington. So what was something like that stood out for you for this curriculum that you did with GW? Like, what really stood out for you that you chose this?
So in GW, to finish your degree, you need to earn 30 credits. So that's 10 subjects across 3 or 4 semesters, depending on what you want to do. Uh, Out of that, only 3 courses were mandatory. And if you are from your a computer science background, then you can also actually get a waiver on 2 of those courses. But as I was not from a computer science background, I had to do all the 3 courses. Uh, and the rest 7 courses, I could choose whatever course that I want to. And another benefit is that you can choose 2 courses outside of the computer science department itself. So if you want to do courses in the business school, you could do, or if you want to do courses in the art school, you can also do that. So that was another, big advantage that I felt would help me. So that's why I chose. And also, they have a lot of courses. They have a lot of relevant courses. So that's also another beneficial benefit for GW.
Oh, that's nice. Like it was more of gives you a lot of flexibility to choose your
Yes.
courses. And obviously, if you had a computer science background, you could have like skipped couple of subjects as well.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's great. And when we talk about like in the terms of, is it like just a fall degree or a spring? Like, is it like a fall intake or a spring intake, or it's both, or it's just one season intake, like for your particular degree?
No. So there is fall intake and also spring intake as well.
Okay,
But
and
there are certain courses that are only offered in the fall, and
mhm,
there are certain courses offered only in the spring.
okay.
So
So
you
you
need
have to
to,
decide
yeah,
like when to take those subjects and when to take the spring ones and when to take the fall ones. Got it.
correct, yeah,
Okay, so like it's like a good thing that people can come up in fall and in spring as well. So intakes are both the ends. Okay.
yeah.
So we talked about the curriculum and everything, but I just wanted to understand on the scholarship part now. So I will talk in more detail on the finances part. So I understand you got the scholarship. So if you can walk us through, if we exclude that scholarship, or how did you actually apply for that scholarship? Is it like given to all international students, or did you apply it separately? And then how was the bifurcation of the finances? Like how much went off your pockets, and if there was any stipend or CPT, OPT, like sorry, your TARA thing involved, what was all those things?
Yeah. So first thing that all of us should know that GW comparatively is an expensive school. So there are certain reasons for it because it's in Washington DC. It's a private funded university. But despite being an expensive school, they also offer a lot of scholarships. And one very good thing about GW is that you do not have to apply for any scholarship separately. So if you apply for admission, then you are considered for the scholarship. Yeah. So when they give out the admission decisions, in the offer letter is when they specify when they mention that whether you have been given a scholarship or not. They usually give you 25% or up to 50% scholarship on the entire course.
So that's like basically when you mentioned about the application process, you mentioned that they take like the unofficial transcripts as well. That's basically deciding the merit of 25%, or you get 50% scholarship depending on your profile.
Yes, not just the transcripts, but also the SOPs and the LORs, and
Got
also, of course, the resume as well.
Okay, okay. So like
Yeah,
it's like full
it's a collect.
a collection of it. Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
And one thing that I know about GW is that all these applications actually go to the professors in the computer science department, and they are the ones who look at your profile.
Oh, so your future professors are actually judging
Yes.
you.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
So first, how the process works is that first the admin team makes sure that you're eligible for admission. If you have submitted all the documents, if you're eligible, all of that, and then the uh, applications are passed on to the professors, and then they are the ones who review it and then give out the decisions.
Okay, so it's basically like whatever your entire application package is just judging you how much scholarship you get.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
like, do you have any idea, like, do they have like anything of that sort that everyone will get scholarship, like every international student would get it, or it's like there are rules that maybe few international students may not get it because of their profiles or anything?
So in my batch, not all of them had got scholarships.
Okay.
Some of them had got 25%, some of them had got 50%, but not everyone had a scholarship.
Got it. So it's basically how your profile is standing out in front of the professors, and then they are, putting out the judgment. Got it. So, you need to have like a strong profile for George Washington
That's right, sir.
University, so that it's like full all-rounder, and
Yes.
you get. Okay. So if we like consider the scholarship amount, then how did you like manage your tuition fees and everything else, considering staying in Washington and being part of that university?
Yeah. So initially, when before I came to the university, I planned to pay off my tuition with a student loan. So I took a student loan with HDFC Credila, and then once I came here, so that was the loan amount was uh, excluding the scholarship. So after the scholarship, how much amount was left, I took a loan for that amount.
That's I guess a smart decision actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing. And another one thing that I actually did was I did not ask the bank to disperse my entire amount at once. I asked them to do it in batches so that I don't incur the entire interest rate from the beginning itself.
That's
So
smart as well. Yeah.
yeah, so that is another thing that students can actually request their banks to do it. Uh, and yeah, so what I did was I just asked them to disperse my 50% of the amount. That helped me cover, I think, first year of my expenses. And expenses were only tuition fee. Yeah, the tuition fee, all the association fees, and all of that. The moving year and the initial expenses that you need to set up your
Got
house
it.
and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the loan. And as soon as I came here, yeah, before I came here, actually, GW has a very good on-campus job portal where students can go on and start applying for jobs for employment, and they can actually have a job before even they step into the US. So that's a very good thing with GW. They have an employment portal for students. A lot of my friends actually, even I did not know about this employment portal until very late around August. If you, I no, I think around end of July. So if you start applying early, then the chances of you getting a job becomes very high.
Got it. Got it. So there's nothing like that you get like a TA and RA position along with the offer letter. You need to apply for it through the portal.
Yes. So for TAs and RAs, how it works is, so a lot of this process for our batch was a little different than how it would be now, because our batch was the first batch after COVID.
Okay.
So we were the first batch to start on campus after COVID. So a lot of things were still, a little here and there. Even the professors were figuring it out because the
Yeah.
campus had just opened.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did was I was suggested by someone that email the professors
Mm-hmm.
after you get your admit decision, and start reaching out to them saying that you're interested in RA or you're interested in TA, and you can also become a grading assistant. Like, you don't have to teach anything, but you can just grade papers.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
there are three. Yeah.
That's the TA thing. Yeah. You make papers, you make assignments, and you check them.
Yes. Yeah. You don't. So back in our batch, I think TAs and GAs work differently.
Yeah, it may differ from college to college, like how
Yes.
the
Yeah.
professor want you to be. RA is more of like the research thing where
Research.
you work,
Yes.
and TA and GA, like I don't know what is GA. Like, is it
A grading
graduate?
grading assistant.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
totally different. Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So for us, like I guess me being a TA, I was making the papers, I was making the assignment papers, and then I was the one who was checking it as well. So that
Okay.
clubbed everything into TA. For you, I guess grading assistant is another one who checks, and teaching assistant is the one who makes the papers. Or
Yeah. So for us, I think I'm not sure if any of my friends mentioned that they were making assignments or making papers.
okay,
Uh, but they did mention that they were grading a lot of papers. So
okay. So
yeah, yeah. One more thing, that during our batch, there are not a lot of TAs given out because professors were still understanding their budgets and all of their requirements. So we had a lot of GAs, but I don't think we had any TAs. That's why I'm not very clear about what the
no
TAs were.
worries, that's not an issue, but
Mm.
it is something that you yourself reach out to the professors and
Yes,
get hold of those positions and then start working, right?
yes. So basically, it's like you are already a part of the university even before you step into the US. So you reach out to the professors. You have to convince them that, okay, I can do this. I have this experience. I have this coursework. These are my grades. And some professors also agree to interview on video on Zoom. So that's also another benefit that you get to basically sell yourself to the
I know.
professors.
Yeah, I had like an interview with my professor when I like joined college, like first week, and then she interviewed me, and I don't know what she saw into me that she took me for the entire year, like my entire degree program. I was just under her, just floating
Um,
across TA and RA. So,
okay.
I don't know what they see in 2, 3 questions because they just see a resume and how are they like judging if that person could grade or she was more of like there are professors like my professor was looking more towards um like how is your English, like I really want you to make papers, I really want you to write answer keys, so I really want those things like your punctuation and everything. So she was that like strict that if you've written a sentence, there should be a comma, full stop, proper, sentence case should be there. So she was like, "Are you good with that part?" I was like, "Yeah, like, yeah, that is like something we can do it." And then later I got to know she really like is like a grammar Nazi, like, she'll pinpoint where to use a semicolon, where to use a colon, and, to put all those things. And she really, pushes me to deduct marks on those things for students.
Okay, wow.
You
Okay.
have to be like proper sentences.
Proper, proper.
I was like, okay, okay, got it, got it. Now I understand what she was meaning by do the English versions of writing sentence cases and everything. So yeah, I also went through like a face-to-face interview where she asked me a couple of questions and she was like done with it. But for other folks, there were students in my batch who were done like through emails only, like their resumes were shared and they were like shortlisted through email. So, it depends from professor to professor how they prefer it.
So
So,
I actually was not a grading assistant because I didn't have a background in computer science. So that was one major reason. But then I always had an on-campus job. So I was actually, luckily, I was a web designer first for the transportation department. And yeah, so uh, as we were talking on the expenses, so my on-campus job actually paid for my day-to-day expenses
that's
for the
nice.
entire 2 years of my graduation, of my master's.
That's great. Like that is something we really look out for, like the extra money that we can use it for our rents and groceries and like the survival thing. And I would just wanted to say, like, you have maybe like moved from different departments as well on your on campus. So you mentioned about the transportation, and then you moved to other areas as well.
Yes, so for the first year, I was with the transportation department. But then my manager, the director of the transportation department, she left the university. So there was a little bit of, you know, they had to hire a new director and all the budget allocations.
Okay, yeah.
So
Mm.
in during that time, I was like, okay, I need to find a new job before I can come back here. So then I found a job as the same job with the language center. So my
Okay.
experience in the first job helped me get the second job.
Oh, nice. So you also gave in through like resume submission and then interview processes as well?
Yes. Uh, my first job, she actually looked at my website. So I had a website back then and I had published it and all of that. So she actually, that link was on my resume. So when I went for the interview, when she called me for the interview after I reached the US, she actually had my entire website printed out and in her folder. And I think that's what got me the job. Like she wanted a website designer, and I had a website that had been designed. So that actually really helped me
You
with
never
my
know what all things really help here.
exactly. Guys, yeah. So during the COVID, I was, I had designed that website. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Like, what's the harm? And then I realized why I did it and how it helped
Yeah,
me. Like,
things really help you here. So I guess my professor also checked my website as well. Although it's not like made from scratch, it's on a different platform where I just, update it day by day. But she was like really happy seeing like somebody has like a place where it's all the collection of you, like me, there, like whatever I have done so far. So she was really happy, like not a lot of master student do it, only undergrad students do all these things, but not the master's one. So that was one, a plus point for me as well with
yeah, so that helped me a lot.
okay, so it was more of like, part-time job, you were paid hourly basis, and obviously the prices differ from state to state and city to city. So we'll not go into that much part, but it was more of 20 hours per week.
Yes, I made sure that I did all the 20 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
didn't know.
we want to
Yeah,
get all the pay for 20 hours.
exactly. Yes.
So
Yeah.
great. So how was your experience there, like with the college timeline? Like, what was your college hours of being attending the class, and then this thing, like, what was your availability on both the side and how you were managing it?
So one great thing about everyone here is that they understand that everyone's schedule is different, and here, especially with students, a lot of managers are very flexible. So my manager did not have any specific timing that she wanted us to work. So before every semester, she used to ask us what is our schedule, and what are when do we have our courses, and what our schedule would be best to work. So, and another good thing about GW is that we have all the classes in the evening from 6 to 9. So you have the entire day in the morning is free. You can do whatever you want, and we have classes only on 3 days a week. So you have 3 hours on, so 3 hours each of each subject,
Okay. Mhm.
3 days a week. So the
Okay.
rest of the time you can spend working, doing your on-campus jobs, or preparing for interviews and all of that. So that was a good thing that we had this flexibility.
Okay, great, great. And remind me if I did not ask about it, but this was a STEM degree as well, right?
Yes, this was a
Okay,
standard.
okay, great. And it was a STEM degree, and also it allowed you to take like CPT as well before you move on to OPT.
Yes,
So, like,
yes.
as in my degree, like, why I'm asking is this because in my degree, we were like, it was a compulsion for us to do like our CPT. Like, you have to do your CPT within the, degree program. It's like you should have one outside experience. That is something on the CPT part that you take it.
Okay.
Um, so was this something like a necessity that you had to do CPT, or if you do it on campus as well, they were good with it?
No. So CPT was not a necessity. So they were okay with us not doing a CPT. And another thing with GW is that they don't support co-ops. So that's a little
Oh,
uh, that's
weird.
something that I was not really sure of when I joined GW. Yeah, so they don't give permission for co-ops
Okay,
until
so
unless it's outside. Like if it's in DC and you're attending college in person, they're okay with it. But or if you're working from home, that is also okay. But you cannot take a semester off and then extend your uh,
ooh.
masters. So that is one thing that GW does not allow. So
I
that's one thing that
guess
you can consider.
at some instances it's fair as well because they have like a particular curriculum designed in a way that it ends at a particular mark, and obviously they make it compulsory to have in-person classes, and especially for international students they want like a 3.0 GPA
Yes.
in all the semesters. So if you miss, like, for instance, in my university, if you miss like two consecutive classes, like in person, you really are dropped from that course.
Okay.
Something like that. So, like, you can't like just miss in-person classes without informing the professor, and it's like a legit case. Like, obviously, you are sick or something has happened, it's emergency. That is like okay, but you're just sitting at home and joining through Zoom classes, and most of our professors never allowed Zoom classes. Like, they really, like, if it's really a dire need of the professor, then we switch on to the virtual side, but it's always in person. Like, there were instances where there was like storm and any something coming up in Atlanta, so that day the classes were off, but somehow it's like all the time you are there in the class and you just can't skip it.
So I think in GW that way professors were very easygoing. They used to always have in-person and online classes, and they used to really not take attendance. So it was okay if you would skip classes, but there were certain professors who actually took attendance, and
Yeah,
they actually troubled the students a lot if they did not attend the classes.
I know. And to the point, like, my class strength was 20. So how much you can hide? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you can't hide much out of 20 folks as well. And I guess so is your case, like less strength
Yes.
in class.
Yeah. So I think there's only one course that had over 100 students. and it was obvious because it was data structures and algorithms.
Okay.
So that was like, it was obvious that that course is going to have a lot of students. So that was the only course that had over I think 20 students. The smallest class that I have been is around 8 students, and the maximum that I've been is probably 15 to 20 if you exclude the data structure. Yeah,
Okay. I've never
and that's
done
why.
it. Like I've always been in a class of 20, I guess semester by semester, because there were a couple of MBA students as well joining those subjects. So because of that, the strength went on to 20. But in different other classes, I was like, we were like good 16, 17 people only, like set 15 or 16 people, and out of which you know 5 or 6 were usually of the flex MBA program course. They were taking those subjects, or there were students who could not complete their degree in the time period because of some emergencies or anything. So they're just being part of that course. So they just sit for 1 or 2 classes, like subjects, and then they're off. So I've always been in a class of 14, 15 people, so not much you can do with like skipping classes or anything of that sort. Like the professors know you by name, by face,
That's
because
true.
that's it, you're 15 folks, they can just remember you.
Yeah, that's true. And some professors used to always, deduct grades if you used to not attend classes.
I
And
agree. I agree.
I
They
also,
silently judge you how much you are inclusive in the class, how much you're speaking up, and stuff like that. So that was the case.
and I think there was one professor, I don't remember who actually had marks for attending classes. So if you don't attend classes, you lose out somebody. That was the case. So
I had one professor, like a funny thing in my last semester, summer semester, when I was like this much in water that I just need to be done with it now. Like I can't continue it any further. So that professor had like weekend classes and virtual, and for the entire summer semester, because summer semester mostly Monday to Friday everyone was working, and then Saturday Sunday you had your classes. And that professor, like the same you said, for attending classes he had marks. Our professor had marks if your video is turned off. He used to
mm,
deduct marks, like you have to always be on video. I was like morning 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, like, good amount of hours as well. And he used to like probably take names like, switch on your video. Why have you switched off your video? So, that's one thing that I remembered from, attending class, but he acting like you have to be on the video.
yeah. But you always have those one or two professors which trouble you a lot.
A lot, a lot. And that too in the last semester, that was really like too much for me. I was like, okay, I'll just sit like this. If I'm yawning also, I will sit like this and I will yawn.
Especially during the end of the masters, you're like, okay, I just want to get done with it. Like I've done enough now. I just want to get
I
done with it,
agree.
submit assignments, and just finish it.
I agree. And summer semester was the toughest one. I had just had 2 subjects, but all these keep your video on and stuff like that. And after you're working for Monday to Friday during your summer semester, and then Saturday, Sunday, you still don't get any rest, but you're doing your college. So it
Mm.
was like good Monday to Sunday. I was like, things were coming and going, and I was still in the same, like sitting and working, and there was no gap or break or anything.
That's the thing with master. Like once you're into masters, until you finish it, there is no break. Like
I
you
know.
constantly have assignments, uh, exams, and then you have to prepare for interviews, job hunting. It's just
Yeah,
keeps going for two
exactly.
years.
And I was like, I guess we were both at the same time. Like I graduated in 2023, you also graduated in 2023, right?
Yes.
And we were just into the same era of job hunting where, I don't know how things worked out for me, but it was really a difficult time.
How it was.
I still remember like July this time. I was just wrapping up my college, like 31st July was my conference date. I was just waiting for my EAD to come up because it was getting so delayed and everything. So, it's just really bad phase of last year, like all these months, July, August, September, and then September end, I got my offer letter. So
Uh,
that was the bit, but really stressful times with the job, and that we'll
I,
talk about as well.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, one more thing that actually you mentioned that all students require a 3.0 GPA to graduate.
Mhm.
So one thing that GW also does is that when they give out offer letters for admissions, they have certain conditions in their offer letters that you need to satisfy over and above the already set conditions. So for example, when they require English language course, so they take three exams: TOEFL, they take Duolingo, and they take
IELTS.
IELTS.
Mhm.
So they take three exams, and if you do not pass a certain threshold, then you need to take a English proficiency course or in your first semester. And so that is another something that a lot of students don't know about. So uh, that course is fully paid, so we have to pay for the course, and it is a very extensive course. Like it takes a lot of your time. So luckily, my score was above the threshold, so I did not have to take that course. But a lot of my friends and my roommates had to take that course, and they were fed up with it. They actually spent a lot of time doing the English course than the actual computer science courses.
That's funny.
And
Nothing
in
like,
G,
yeah, nothing
sorry,
like actually, that is one part that you are paying for that course as well. So
exactly. Yeah.
that's
And
the
it
one.
also does not add to your credits. So it's like instead of doing the 30 credits, you're doing 33 credits. Yeah. So
Anyways, it doesn't count. Like if you do this English language course, still this is off that 30 credits, right? It's
yes.
over that. Okay, it's not included as well. Okay.
Yeah. And actually, one more thing that you can do is that if you, for example, submit your TOEFL scores and if it's not above the threshold, then you can give a Duolingo test or an IELTS score, which can cross the threshold, and then the
Hmm.
course will be then later waived off.
Okay. So yeah, point to be noted for everyone to like look through the website. What is the current bar that they want in these exams, and probably try to get it, or else you're paying for a 3 credit course would be expensive. I agree to that point. And it takes a lot of time. So if any course you're taking it here, it just takes a lot of your time with assignments, group projects, discussions, case studies, and whatnot the professor can come up with. So probably try to pay at one place, by giving the exams and getting that score rather than paying the 3 credits that would be expensive in dollars. So it's
Yep.
better to get a score. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. So we talked about the course, the curriculum, the scholarship, the finances, and it was pretty clear for us how one can get the scholarship and how to have like a good profile and then the on-campus job and everything. So we really want to like tickle the elephant in the room and talk about the visa process. So I know you came to college just after COVID, like August 2021. And how was your visa experience when we talk about the F1 visa and the slot bookings and interviews and everything? How was it for you?
Okay. So one suggestion that I would like to give all the students is start early. Do not leave things to the end. Start collecting your documents. Know what documents you require. And one big thing that a lot of students are currently facing, that even I faced, is actually getting a appointment for an interview. So because it was during COVID, when I had my admit letter, the visa consulates hadn't opened at all. So I was like, okay, I have my uh, admit letter, but I don't know if I can go or not. So interestingly, I was supposed to come here in 2020 August, but that's when COVID hit and the entire world shut down, and then I had to push my admit by 1 year, and that's another reason why actually chose GW's because GW allowed me to push my admit by 1 year, while a lot of other universities were like, no, you need to reapply and you need to do the whole process again.
So you were able to defer it to the next fall.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I was able to defer it by a year. Yeah, so come back to the visa, start early, get your documents ready, all your passport, make sure one very important thing about coming to the US is that make sure your passport is not going to expire at least 3 years after you come here. That's what it is recommended by everyone because it's a little difficult process to, get your passport here in the US. You have Indian consulate that they do a bit good process. Like it's very quick in the way that you can apply very quickly, very easily, but it takes time for you to get the new passport.
Yeah, like why to be, why to put yourself in a hassle in a new country with an
That's true.
expired visa? It's better like get it. So I came in 2022 and I don't know for some reasons my passport, like my first passport got expired in 2020 and the entire family just went like let's just renew our passports. That is just out of the world that we have to go somewhere. No, let's just get it like renewed, like what like
Yeah.
Indian dads do, like let's just get it all sorted. And 2020 I got it like renewed, and 2022 I flew, so I'm like sorted, like that is
Yeah.
one headache that is off my shelf, that my passport is valid for another 10 years. Like for now it's like another 6 years, so I'm good. Like I don't have to worry about that. So that's one thing, like that's a good advice that you give up. Like
Yeah.
I've heard couple of folks who travel back, or just ask questions on various groups that my passport is getting expired, how anyone has any experience or anything. So get it like sorted from your own country itself.
Like it's like you have to get as many things as of your plate before you come here, so that you don't have any other extra things to worry about.
Anyway, here your plate is like loading, like dripping
Overflowing.
off. And then you add up your passport expiry as well. So, and considering the fact, I am really scared of anyways the official work, like, be it EADs, be it OPTs or anything of that sort. I try to be as crisp as possible, like, it's all cut to cut, what is needed is there. So, I anyways really fear of all these activities that they would find something like, there is something discrepancy. So I better be off from these things and get it all sorted from my own country, because here you don't know anything like how things process in consulates or anything. At least
That's
in
true.
your own country, you're aware of things and you can get hold of, multiple times. But here it's I don't know how it's.
Yeah, yeah. And then even if like if by chance if you miss out on
Mhm.
renewing your passport, it can also affect your CPT, it can affect your EAD,
Yeah.
all of that process as
Because
well. So
your
I think
passport is the major identification you have here as an international student. So that needs to be always valid. Like if that is invalid, bye, go.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, start early, make sure all your documents are ready. And third thing is like be honest about you, about your background in India or about any of your relatives here in the US. Just be honest about it because they actually know about everything about you before you step into the embassy. That's one advice that I would give. And so this is actually a very interesting insight. So while I was standing in the visa interview queue, a student in front of me was giving his interview and he was asked that why did you choose this university? And he said that this is the only university in the world that has A plus plus accreditation or something. And I'm like, and at that point, I was, in my own world, so I didn't think about it a lot. But then his visa was actually rejected. So my point being that, try to be as honest as possible and do not make up your own stuff because, it
They
doesn't make
know
sense.
actually. They know everything. Like,
Yes.
there are a couple of things that you come across, right? When I was in my line as well, in front of me, there was something, not an F1 person, but somebody else. And they just were talking something, and the same did not relay on the DS 160. So there was a discrepancy of what that person was saying and what was filled in the DS 160. And that really pissed off the officer. that I was the next one, and I was really like looking here and there, like, can somebody please change my window? And that officer is really pissed off because they were completely opposite things that the person was talking about. So it's better you be honest and don't be robotic in being honest, but somehow be confident in what you say,
Yes.
and not like A plus plus, but basically talk about your curriculum or the course and what it provides you rather than the accreditation.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. And also I've seen, like, for me, my visa officer actually asked me the same question twice. All the questions that he asked twice, not because he couldn't hear me, but he was making sure that I'm actually answering
The same thing.
honestly and answering the same thing. So that is one thing that a lot of students should know about. And second is be prepared for all the questions that they ask you. So during our times,
Especially, yeah, especially the finance is their favorite question.
yes,
So you should not fumble, or you shouldn't seem like underconfident that you don't know, but you should be clear, like, these are your finances and how. So they asked me, and I was like pretty confident that okay, this is the amount, this, that, and he himself said it. Okay, there's a scholarship I see. Okay, this and that. But they were like good with it. So be confident in what you say and be clear with your finances question. That's their favorite question.
yeah, that. And yeah, just know what you're going to say. Like, they might also cross question and all that. So be prepared. And yeah, one more thing that I would like to mention for all the audience is that there are a lot of WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, Discord channels that students discuss questions that they have been asked or they could be asked. So that actually helped me a lot because a lot of questions that I thought would never be asked were on that channels and on the
I
groups.
agree.
And one of those questions also was asked to me. So I was like, great, that helped
I
me.
agree, yeah. And on that point, like, I also came across a lot of folks, like really good people who created their transcript of like 30 seconds or 1 minute of whatever they were asked. And couple of things that I prepped up from those questions as well. And they were asked as well because they are the common questions of finances and why this university and stuff. So later what I did was I also created my transcript of like 30 seconds where I was asked like quick questions, and I kept it ready for anyone, who would come and ask me. So I've shared it with a lot of folks, like, okay, and even like I've done it in the same way, like counter number this at Delhi consulate, and this was the total duration, everything, like how was officers mood, writing everything so that it can be used from other folks as well. So that was the best part that I did, and I shared up with a lot of juniors who came in after me, and I just said take this transcript, like you can take few questions from here as well. So that was really helpful. I agree to that point, like groups and people telling those questions.
Yeah, so that was actually very helpful. And yeah, I mean, more it's the key here is to start early and get an appointment as soon as possible. Because I remember, because my consulate opened very late, the day I got my visa and the day I left, I had around 10 to 15 days only in that space. So that was a very short time for me because I had not started packing because I was not sure whether I'll get the visa and not get the visa. And because it was COVID, they were not giving out visas easily. So make sure you start early is what my biggest advice would be.
That's really like apt advice that you should start early, because late things can also affect a lot of things for you to reach late to the campus or miss out on stuff. So it's better to apply early.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, like for example, like we're done with the curriculum, we're done with the visa process. So, cut to chase, you just flew from India to Washington. So how was like the first couple of weeks there, like settling? Was it, obviously it would have been overwhelming experience for all of us, but how was it like the first couple of weeks being in the capital of United States and roaming around places and Yeah, like there are a lot of places in Washington. Like I've been there, I know it's beautiful.
It is beautiful, yes.
So it's worth staying there for 2 years.
Definitely. Like, uh, so it actually took a couple of weeks for it took a couple of hit to hit me that okay, I'm actually in the US. Like because I was preparing for it for such a long time. I started my process around 2019, and then it got delayed because of COVID. So I think 2019 to the time I came, it was almost 2 years. So that that whole process was so long. I had to go through so much, like, SOPs, LORs, then this stress of visa appointments and admits and all of that. When I came here, I was like, okay, I'm here. But it actually hit me that okay, I'm actually in the US after a couple of weeks, and it was a surreal moment, and it was beautiful. Like I was just like, okay, finally I'm here. I've got what I wanted that I've been waiting
Yeah.
for. So it was a very I still remember that moment and where I was, what I was doing. So I still remember that moment.
It's like after all this, finally I'm here and
Yeah.
I can actually live around with my masters and in the beautiful city and everything else.
And advantage of being in Washington DC is that it's a city not like other cities. Like if you go to, for example, Texas, or I mean, sorry, Dallas or Arlington in Texas, or if you go to San Francisco, you go to other colleges, you see San Diego. So DC is more of a downtown city that it has good public transport. You can walk around everywhere, and so this was what benefits of DC is like. You can walk to grocery stores, which I don't think is going to be possible in a lot of other universities because they are just university towns, so they don't have a lot of things other than the university itself.
Yeah, it's a little far off when you talk about other universities as well. Yeah.
Yes, so GW is actually in the heart of Washington DC, and it's
Hmm.
an open university. It's not like a closed university. So along with the university buildings, there are also other offices. There's uh, a lot of other restaurants that are not associated with the university, but they are privately owned and universities. There are general stores. There's a lot of grocery stores. There's also liquor
Nice.
stores. If you see,
Oh, nice,
it's like
nice. Like
there's
everything is
everything.
located nearby itself to the university as well, because it's like in downtown, so everything is around, not just the university. So it's
That's
not,
true.
it's just a university area, you'll not find anything else, but you'll still have Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, you have Chick-fil-A, you have Chipotle, you have Subway, you
Uh,
have everything.
nice,
And
nice.
and we also had a metro station right on the campus.
Mhm.
So that was very
I
helpful.
know that's pretty good as well. I haven't traveled in it, but I've heard like good, and it like connects you till Virginia side as well, like the Westgate church stations and everything. So it's
Yes.
pretty convenient to connect to that side as well.
You get
Nice.
connected to Virginia and Maryland.
Okay, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's both ways and DC is in the middle. So you can actually go around the tri-state area very easily.
Oh, nice, nice. It just feels like Delhi NCR, where you have the metro all through the area, covering up
Okay.
everything. It feels like that, like the tri.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
And
nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
What was I saying? Yeah, I mean the public transport, not just the metro, the buses are also good. The frequency was good when I came, but over time it has kind of they have had budget cuts and budget constraints. So public transport also is kind of holding up right now. And yeah, so one thing that I felt while I was in DC is like I never uh, you know thought that okay, I actually need a car to go anywhere. I could easily walk. I could take the metro, take the bus. That was one big advantage that okay, I never felt like I wanted a car in DC, even in the winters.
great. Fun question, Purav. Like, in the span of 2 years, do you think that you have covered all the monuments, all the museums, all the historic places that are like open in Washington? Like, do you think like have you left anything or you've covered all?
All the monuments, yes, multiple times.
Okay.
But I've not been inside White House. That's on my bucket list.
Oh,
You can
nice.
actually get into the White House,
Really?
but you need, yes, you. So how that
Why
works
did
is
I
that
not go inside it and I just clicked a picture from outside?
uh, so uh, inside White House premises, you can actually go, but you need to actually plan at least 3 to 4 months in advance.
I've been inside the Supreme Court. Like that was one thing as a tourist I did it. Like went inside. There are a couple of sections that they let you be part of, but not the White House. Like that. That
I've
should
been
be
inside the Capitol Hill and I've seen the Congress in session.
Mm.
So
At my time, I guess the Capitol building was under construction. It's still under construction.
it is
I
still under
in
it is
other
still under construction, but you actually can go inside. So it's just the outer structure
is
that is
this
being.
only accessible to locals who live in Washington and not to tourists like us?
So actually, even I got to know after staying so long in DC.
Okay.
Uh, so there is you can actually go to the Capitol Hill website and you can book your slot. And once you book your slot, you have to. So that slot only gets you entry into the Capitol Hill. But if you want passes into the chambers, the Congress sessions, then you need to ask the help desk inside the Capitol Hill. So you don't get it online, you don't get it anywhere else.
That's great. I guess my audience will know it that apart from the college and everything, they can reach out to you for all these
Uh,
extracurricular activities
in
as
DC,
well.
yes. In DC, yes.
Contact Purav. Yes, he'll let you know what
Definitely.
website, what Congress session you want to attend. He's the man.
And you
But
can
that's
actually
amazing.
also
Yeah. Sorry.
go on the top of the Washington Monument.
Oh my God, this is too much, Purav. I need to connect with you offline now to know all these things.
Yeah. So that's another thing that you can do. You can go to the White House.
Right.
I've not done all the museums, but I've done all the major ones.
It
So I've
takes
done
a
the
lot of time, I guess, because there are a lot, like every historical event is in like Washington itself. So it's a
like
lot.
a very historical place. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
a
And
lot of
it's
museums.
beautiful. Like it's like any part of it is really beautiful. That's like one feedback I had. Like I went in during the winters and just in front of the Lincoln Memorial, that
Uh,
water was full frozen, and we were just like ice skating with my friends, and it was beautiful. Like I and then I saw majority of the places during the night, and then I saw it during daylight as well, just to feel the difference. Like how do they look in the night and then in the day? But it's beautiful. Like
it
it's
is.
every area is, and Washington is meant to be called like a beauty state because everything is beautiful there. And
It is. It is. And especially in the summers. Like if you not summers, like around March, April, when it's not very cold and it's not very hot,
Mhm.
it is amazing. The grass is so green. You see a lot of people. There are picnics. People are playing. It
Yeah.
is. It's just amazing.
Perfect. We got really derailed on that one question, but
Yeah.
I have a couple of two or three more major questions, and then we can wrap this up. So I know that we were graduated during a time when job market was really not at a good point, and I know you are really successful working as a software engineer with NIST. So I just wanted to understand what were few things that worked out for you, any sort of things that you want to quickly share it with the audience, and then how this current role is aligned with what you learned from the curriculum as well from GW, so that we can talk.
Yeah. So for the job process, I would suggest all students coming to the US to start job hunting from day one. So one thing that I did not know about was some of the internships positions were already open the day before I stepped into the US. So I was looking for summer internships in the summer of 2022, and some of them had already opened in the summer of 21. So 1 year in advance, companies open up their internship positions. And so let me talk about internships first, and then I'll come to the jobs. Uh, so internships, you start off. Uh, One thing is have your resume ready. Do not wait for building your resume after coming to the US because you're going to lose out on precious time. Have your LinkedIn ready. Like it should be up to date, a good photograph, good headline, all the experiences, all the education updated to the date. And so a lot of Indian students feel that, placements here in the US happen the same way that happen in India, that companies come to universities, but that is not the case. You know, universities just, help you with preparing your resumes or, polishing your LinkedIn, but they do not help you finding jobs. Some universities do have tie-ups with some companies, but it's not the case with all the universities. So you are to find internships and jobs, you're on your own. So start applying as soon as possible, as early as possible, because if your resume goes in early, then you have a very higher chance of getting a call for interview. That's what I've noticed in the last 2 years of my job hunting process. So that's one thing, and especially for computer science students, if you're looking at core computer science like front end engineering or software engineering, back end developers, back end engineering, then you need to consistently be in touch with the current technologies, and also completely be clear of your basics. So data structures and algorithms is what they ask you in every interview. Yeah, so all companies will send you out a test first, and then they'll have interviews. So it's all on data structures and algorithms. So have your lead code basics very clear. And another thing that I consistently did was alongside doing lead code was reaching out to people on LinkedIn. So, for example, I have a company in mind. So I used to reach out to software developers, software engineers in my position who are the same role as that I want. I used to reach out to them, connect with them, and then talk to them about what the company requires and how as an interview, because they are the ones who are going to interview you. So what they look in for candidates, and sometimes not sometimes, like I used to always ask for referrals. That, refer me in this company. So the system of referrals works very pretty good here. That employees can refer you, and when your application is attached with a referral, then you get a higher there are higher chances of you being selected for an interview. So reach out to people, connect with them, network with them. It's a little time consuming, but I think you should spend a little time on that. And if you can get LinkedIn Premium, is what I feel, because it gives you more insights into applications, and then you can. I think when I had come, they did not have any restrictions on sending messages to people while you connect to them. But now I think they have added a lot of restrictions and a lot of that. So LinkedIn Premium actually now helps a lot than it used to before. So get LinkedIn, and yeah, just stay consistent. Don't lose hope, and just stay consistent with what you're doing.
Yeah, and like that's one thing that really helped me and a lot of folks that I've talked to during the podcast is the networking bit, because cold calling is something, like cold messaging is something, if not you're just building relationships and somehow things just like falls into picture, like somehow those connections work up and there is some referral, and yeah, referral thing is something really strong here. So go for that one as well. And I went up, your network on LinkedIn should be really diverse, like you can connect to as many folks from different organizations, and somehow get those referrals, build those relationships, and that networking will really take a long way. So that is
Yes, that's
that is like completely fruitful. um um Obviously, before we head on to the student ambassador part, like, do you want to talk more about your current role and how it majorly aligns with your degree that you did?
yes. So I'm currently working with the Applied Economics Office in NIST. Uh, so I'll just give a small background what NIST actually does. So NIST is a part of the U.S. Department of Commerce. NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology, and they basically uh, build and build policies, set the standards, and build tech products for the U.S. government and for the industry in the US. So that's what they basically do. So, for example, like to give a small insight of what exactly they do is that so the US is working on an AI policy, and actually NIST is the one actually preparing the AI policy along with getting all the stakeholders together, and that's what NIST basically does. It starts the process and then just stays there and lets the industry take over and build the policies and products and all of that. So right now I'm working as a software engineer, also building products. Currently, I'm working on more of Python right now, but previously I was working on React and Node.js front end and back end. But now I'm a little towards the back end with working on Python and extracting data, building data sets, and all of that. So that's and this. So this is what I actually studied in my master's. You know, data extraction, software engineering, um, software paradigms, data structures and algorithms. So it just aligns with what I did. And also my previous experience back in India was also in React.
Okay,
So that just continued with me for a year. So that's
that's
it just
amazing.
aligns everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is something that I've heard from a lot of folks from the software engineering background. That they usually talk about what is new in the industry, what is on the front end side, what is on the back end side, and you know a lot of things that I see it on Instagram and LinkedIn as well. Like these are couple of famous things which a lot of organizations are following, like React or Python. These are the things on like really like working the most with the organizations.
Yeah. And
Great.
another,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, no, I mean, yeah. So another thing that I wanted to add for job processes that try to build your own, uh, you know, online presence. It might not be in the sense of an influencer, but have a website where everything's up to date. Build your GitHub profile. Whatever projects you do during your coursework, have it public, push it to GitHub so that companies and recruiters actually know that okay, this candidate is reliable, he knows what he's doing, and it also showcases that okay, you know how to build a website, you know how to use GitHub. So these are the main basic things that a lot of software engineers are expected to know. So that also helps.
I agree. Like, having your presence on all these platforms really help you and lets people know about your work as well, like what you've done back in college. Not everything can go on your resume, but your LinkedIn profile is also one thing that can stand with all these things together. So, all sorts of projects, all sorts of publications, anything like I've also seen people like worked with freelance groups. They have gained that experience like a volunteer opportunity, and they've published those things as well on their GitHubs. So you can see what was their part, and this is somehow that signifies that you worked in teams, that you worked with a lot of folks together. So a lot comes out of it to the recruiters and the hiring managers that can help. So this is like a beneficial drill to build your profile way before, like whatever you're doing during your college, just put it everywhere on your social so that people know what things you're working on.
That's true. Yeah. And I would also suggest everyone to spend some time on building your website, on tweaking your resume, making sure that you use the right keywords, because it might be time consuming and useless in the beginning, but over time it's actually going to be the most beneficial
Yeah,
for you while finding jobs.
when you land that job, these all things would really look small, like that
Yes,
you've done it, but those were the things that actually helped you all
that's
through
true.
your time. That's great. I know that we are really at mark at the time, but I really want you to talk more about quickly about the student ambassador thing that anyone who is coming in the future could be part of, and learn how can they be part of as a student ambassador, and what are the things that they need to do.
Yes, sure. So this specific student ambassador program is uh, I think this is specific to GW. I'm not sure about other universities. But so the School of Engineering has this wonderful student ambassador program where current students answer questions that prospective students might have. So there is no middleman. There is no, going through the university and then reaching out to the students. It's directly from student to student. And there are around, I think, 10 to 11 student ambassadors chosen from each department. So there is one master student and one PhD student. So there are, if you have questions about PhD, you can ask the PhD student. And if you have questions about masters, you can ask the master students. And the reason it's very beneficial is that because these students are current, they have a lot of idea about the university itself. They have idea about the housing situation in and around the university, and they can answer from a student's perspective because they have gone through all of that process. So it makes it very easier for the prospective students, simplify and help them in the process. Because this is what happened to me. When I was a prospective student, I actually connected to one of the student ambassadors, and I was in touch with him even after I came back to the US, and he's actually one of my very good friends now. And he was the one who helped me apply for the student ambassador program. So it was a circle of life for me. From
Yeah,
asking questions to student ambassador, and then 2 years later, no, 1 year later, answering them as a student ambassador. So that whole process
that's
actually,
amazing. Like, one day you were asking question and the other day you were being asked questions. So
yes,
full circle, yeah.
full circle. So that was so it actually helped me a lot because he told me about housing opportunities around university, and then about transportations, and along another thing that students that come to the university can do is that connect to the Indian Student Association if they're from India, or the student associations in the university. They are also quite helpful. And in fact, when I first came to the university, someone from the student association was there to receive me at the airport and get me to the university. So a lot of students did that actually. So that's also one way to connect with your current students, and connecting with the student ambassadors helps a lot in all these kind of things that the university might not be,
Yeah.
able to help you out.
Yeah, the like having university play a role everywhere is difficult, but such programs really, help a lot with the newly, admitted students, and then who will better know the scenario more than the current students itself. Like they would
That's true.
know that, like the in and out of everything, like every sort of smart work, hard work, they know what to do, and they can, help you with the same.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
That's perfect. So that makes us come to the end of the podcast, and we'll wrap up with just one question with you, Purav. I know a lot of things were shared here, a lot of fruitful information was shared here, but one thing that you would like to share with all the incoming international students to maybe GW or to any other university, any advice that you want to give out to all of those students?
uh, so one thing that I realized after coming to the US was how in such a protected environment I was back in India. So once you are in the US, you are on your own. So it's not going to be easy, is what I want to be brutally honest with all the students that are coming here. So they think, okay, it's US, it's going to be fun, it's going to be this and that. But it's if you're doing hard work and if you're consistent, then you're going to have a lot of fun. But if you're here to have fun, then it's going to be very difficult for you to, be here and get in, especially in this job market. It's going to be really hard. So come here, do the hard work. You will have a lot of fun. Travel. Don't just because you're in masters, just try to travel at least locally and see all the places. And most importantly, take care of your health. Just in the stress, don't forget that you have a body to take care of. Play some sports. Don't lose out your interests that you had in India or back in your home country. Don't lose them out here after you come here. Is like all the other advices, like they already know, but these are my from my personal experiences.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that would be it.
It's always the thing, like there are struggles, everyone has their own,
Yes.
like Purav would have had his own struggling times with things. I have had different struggling moments. Others would have different, but it just makes you a stronger person here with you tackling everything. Like you are the sole person who will tackle a job, who will clean the house, who will submit the assignment, and also, who will be, catering to everything. Be it your
That's true.
health, be it your assignments, everything is you. So, I'm really glad that you picked up that point that, your health is your priority here, because one glass of water is just you who can give yourself and nobody else. So, it just makes you feel a lot of independence here when you come here and do a lot of things on your own. And we would say, like, nothing is that difficult. It's just you have to, like, pave that way for yourself, and things would really work out. Like, the job market was difficult, but you network, connect with folks, and somehow things land up. But if it doesn't, it's okay. But you have to try here. You can't be just sitting down and things would come up to you. No, it's not
Yeah.
that US we are part of anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, things you have to work out, and things really work out here eventually. It just takes time, but
Yes, 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 that's true. Yeah.
that's amazing. Like, we had a lot of discussion done today about the university, the program, curriculum, and a lot of things together. And there were a couple of things that you told us about the city, about the college as well, that stood out different from other colleges as well. So I would like to thank you, Pura, for taking out time and coming up, talking about all these things. So thank you so much on behalf of ITSP Magazine. It was really great, and hopefully a lot of people, like, get that help, connect with you, and know more about other things that we couldn't discuss in that podcast. But I really want to keep the conversation open, and hopefully people take that help and connect with you as well.
Thank you so much, Saman, for inviting me and letting me share my experiences with everyone. And I hope it helps everyone. And anyone can connect with me. I think all my links are down below here. And I think someone is also going to share it everywhere. So
Yeah.
anytime you can message me, I'm always there to help you out, guys. So all the best.
Yeah, we'll have all his links in the description box below, so you can connect with him on all the platforms together. And till the time, we will come up with another guest again. So see you, everyone. Bye bye.